Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome to New Life Live. Chris Williams in studio for Steve today, talking with Dr. Jill Hubbard.
How you doing? Hello, Chris.
And Dr. Alice Benton.
Good day to everybody.
All right, so last time the three of us were on together, I opened up with death.
Yes, you did.
I put Jill on the spot.
I hope nobody was depressed.
Right? So this time, as all three of us are on together, I want to open up with life.
Oh.
And really an aspect of life that I think is really, really important that gets too overlooked too many times. And I'll start with a verse that says this: "The joy of the Lord is my strength." Now, over the last few years, and I don't think this is anything unique, but we as human beings tend to, and some of us in particular, tend to gravitate towards miserable. And the misery of life. And we even like to deify.
We have joy in our misery, right?
Right? We even like to deify that or make that some sort of high spiritual quality of like to be Christ-like is to be miserable. But then we wonder why people don't want to be around us.
Mm-hmm. Kind of over-identifying with the suffering.
Yes. If we've lost the light of joy, how do we get the light back on? That's the question I want to start with today.
Well, I think there are two things we need to look at. Are we comfortable with our misery because it's familiar, and we're too afraid to risk trying different things, opening up to new people, getting therapeutic help, because at least what I have is familiar, but the unknown is so frightening to me. I just want to stick right here in my corner with what I have, because that does and can keep us stuck for decades or a lifetime. And is there secondary gain in my misery that precludes me or influences me not to find out how I can get more joy from the Lord? Maybe I get sympathy from other people. Maybe I'm supported by other people in ways that keeps me dependent on them and on my misery.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. The misery can get a lot of good attention.
Yeah, I was thinking along those same lines, Alice, that may be a way or one of the only ways we get connection with others. And yet, when we are in that kind of helpless position or a learned helplessness, having someone's pity or sympathy is not, we're missing a whole aspect of connection. It's just like we're just giving ourselves a little slice instead of the total fullness. I mean, receiving comfort is just one piece of relationship. And so you're right, though, people get comfortable, and I often call it the blanket of depression that we wrap around ourselves. Feels kind of cozy and familiar, and we know it well, and so we know what to do. Versus reaching out, doing something different can create some anxiety and discomfort. And it's sometimes hard to push through that.
You know, early in my recovery, when I was very miserable and, it was really, really difficult. And I remember the therapist that I was working with says, you've got to relearn how to have fun. And it will be essential to your recovery. And fewer words more true than that. But let me tell you, one of the barriers to my fun is this thing called cool. And cool is way overrated. Let me just tell you that right now. Is that I want to be together. I want to look like I have my stuff together. I want to be cool, but sometimes being cool and getting on the dance floor don't work together. Right? So sometimes cool and getting playful with the kids do not work together and having fun. And so we have to risk that, because what I want us to really understand, especially for those of you who are afraid to look a particular way and are protecting your cool, that's not giving you strength. That's defense. Rediscover joy. Have fun. Look for it. Cultivate that. And watch how strength grows on the back end. We're going to be back right after this, helping you find that strength.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, he just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Orange County, California, May 13th to the 15th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Lives. We're going to go right to the phone. We're going to go to Joanna listening in Los Angeles, California on the New Life app. Joanna, are you there?
Hey, yes, I am.
Hi, talk to us. What's going on today?
My question has to do with reconnecting with my dad. So growing up, he's been absent, like physically there, but not really there emotionally so now I want to reconnect with him, but there's also a lot of hurt, and I see him on the phone with his friends, and he puts so much effort into these relationships, and I haven't seen that in how he deals with me and our family. And so part of me wants to say that, you've really hurt me, but I feel like saying that to him, he would just withdraw and disconnect even more. But as an example, he was asked recently to speak over Zoom with some friends back in college, and he put so much effort into the speech. And I remember when my sisters got married, he didn't put that kind of effort in preparing for their weddings or whatever advice he was going to give them. And so it's very hurtful to me to see him really invest in other people and not see that kind of effort. And so, but I do want to have a relationship with him, and I think just like the way his personality is, that I have to be the one to initiate it. So at the same time, I also want to protect myself and not be disappointed when he doesn't reciprocate.
Yeah.
And his ability to connect with friends just doubles your pain that he doesn't put that same effort into you and your sisters. We can hear the tears in your voice. You're just trying to hold back all that you feel about this because it's been a lifetime of disappointment and pain from your father. Tell us what you have done to get help for your pain because of what he's done.
I attended the emotional freedom workshop back in January, which was helpful, but I haven't really, and also reading the books that you guys recommend, but a lot of it has been more journaling and self-reflection. I haven't gone to a counselor after the emotional freedom workshop.
What do you think holds you back from seeking out individual counseling?
I am not sure.
Because
I think part of it is just minimizing what my problem is.
Well, it's interesting because you have gone to some effort, right, to do things like the one-day workshop, and you're reading and you're journaling and you're calling us. So you're doing a lot of things. But to do that ongoing process, which means letting one person really know you and being more intimate, it's kind of what you're talking about with your dad, right? He can be really good for the Zoom call, right, for an hour, or with his friends that don't have to see him day to day, right? But when it comes to the people that are right around him that would require a little more intimacy, he doesn't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Joanna,
Yeah.
what do you know about your father's history and about his family of origin that might help inform why it's so tough for him to connect with his loved ones?
He's raised in a missionary family, and so he went to boarding, pretty much, just sent off to boarding school. So I think he really looks up to his parents, but I don't think they were really intimate with him, or that he got that from them.
So right there, his parents were doing really important work and were helping the masses. But instead of them raising him, being intimate with him, they sent him away to be raised by someone else. So it really makes sense. I mean, this isn't an excuse for what, how you feel, but it makes sense that he's good at appealing to the masses, but not to the individual in his home. Like he doesn't really have a frame for that.
He doesn't know how to do closeness.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So, Joanna, if you were to give your father 2 different invitations, I wonder how he would respond. One, on a more lighthearted level, Dad, could we go for a walk? Could we go out to eat? Or could we play cards together? Just a bid for his time and attention, but something that's perhaps not too intimidating. Versus if you were to ask him for, Dad, I'd really like closer relationship with you. Are you open? Are you willing for that? Could we look at how we might get closer to one another? How do you think he would react to both kinds of invitations?
I think he would. The first invitation, I think he would go for it. It's just like sometimes I've done that and he just doesn't have the time, or he's tired. And then I'm not sure how he would react to an outright invitation of a deeper connection.
So I'm going to propose to you that you risk making more of the first kind of invitation to him to kind of warm him up to the idea that you like his presence and you want to be with him more. But I think you're also right that you're already disappointed in him. And so it is likely that any hesitation on his part, or if he's not available, it will continue to be disappointing and hurtful on a deep, even a soul level to you, because he already has this pattern. And so I hope you will consider attempting that individual therapy work so that you can deal with that high level of understandable pain you have, so that you don't bring it into some of these conversations with him yet, because he's not ready for it, I don't think. And so it's this 2-pronged approach that might start making some headway with your father.
Okay, thank you so much.
And Joanna, I also want to leave you with this. The father that you need and the father that you have are 2 different people. And that requires grieving. Because as you've experienced, the more that you're going to put your hopes, and really, I believe your God-given hopes and desires into being adored and protected and guided and loved by your father, being valued by your earthly father, the more you're staying in those patterns of disappointment and hurt. But yet there's that drive inside of all of us to be loved by our parents. It's again, I believe it's definitely a God-given desire. And yet we're born into these earthly creatures that oftentimes cannot provide us what we need.
Yeah, very imperfect. So, Chris, as you were saying, to be able to grieve, Joanna, with someone else, and then to look at your father, who he is today, realistically, and know his limitations, and learn what can you expect from him and what can you not. And then you get those needs met from other people in your world. You learn how to do that. And it's never the same as it would have been back when you needed it, but it can still be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes, Joanna, when we work on our own spiritual and emotional maturity, it does minister to our parents and it calls them up. I started dating my dad, Joanna. I started asking him to take me out to meals because I wanted deeper relationship with him. But like you, he was startled by my request and he didn't know quite what to do with it. And I kept up with it, and we eventually made inroads, and we have deeper conversations now than we've ever had before. But I also get my relational needs met with my own small support group and my own therapist and other men in my life. Because my father can't be everything I need and want him to be. And I'm not everything everybody else needs and wants me to be either. So we spread out those needs to our safe community of people.
And can I just say that I did it the wrong way early on in life, and I did the direct approach with my dad, and I told him I wanted a closer relationship with him. And he's told me flat out, what you're wanting, I can't give you.
Wow.
And that was crushing, but it was also, okay, that was a reality check.
Now I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Joanna, thank you so much for calling in today. Our hearts are with you. We understand how heartbreaking this is. We also know that you're not alone, and that I really believe that your phone call really helped a lot of other people in this exact same situation. We're going to send you a copy of Healing as a Choice, and really hope that you can dig into that. And we do have a Transforming Grief workshop coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Let me get to that information. I should know it off the top of my head, but I do not. But it is May 7th. If you register by... Actually, that date has passed, but it's May 7th. Give us a call today. If you do need
Call anyway.
Call anyway. And if you do need financial help with that, let us know. So again, Joanna, thank you so much for calling in today. We are going to go to, where was that? B in Linwood, California. Back to the LA area. So listening on KKLA. B, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi. How are you today?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
My question is, I think I'm grieving my son's destructions, behavior in their lives, and I'm going along with them. And my sons are grown-up men, but my oldest, my firstborn, is like very in the last stage of addiction, and they don't live with me. My oldest lives with his dad, and he enables him to go in and out of the house and do his stuff. And I don't totally agree with that, but my question is, how do I handle this on my own? Because it's like, if I don't see him, keep distance and try to build myself up, I miss him, and I want to know how he's doing. And if I see him, I can function. It depresses me. It hurts me so much that.
Yeah. Has your younger son sought any help or had the opportunity for help for his addiction?
He actually is doing better now. He has a family, so I think that helps him a lot to focus on his family. And that's what it drives him to get help, you know. He's doing that. But it's like, I need help with me.
Yeah.
And B, where do you currently bring your grief and receive comfort? It tears your heart out to see your son make these choices, and his father allows it and enables it. Where do you get your comfort from?
I go to prayer meetings. I go to I wanted to start going to Al-Anon's meetings.
Yeah.
I feel so heavy.
Yeah.
Even go one step in front of another sometimes, and I don't have I feel like I'm all alone on this.
Yeah.
My family is totally rejecting me. I mean, there's no connection with my blood family, and I just feel desperate.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pain on all fronts, B. I mean, your marriage, you're not together in your marriage. right? You guys are divided.
No, I'm divorced. Yeah,
right, you're divorced.
I'm divorced, yeah.
And you're telling me that your family of origin is also not in your life.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot of loss. And if people are going off and doing things that are destructive and you stand for something different, it often makes sense, especially if you are strong in your faith, that they would push you away, right? Because you remind them of what they're not doing or what they're doing wrong. And that's really sad to be on the receiving end of that. I like that you're going to prayer meetings. I like that you're involved in Al-Anon. And we need to go to things as many days as we need to help contain the depth of our grief.
And so, B, we're going to head to a break here. We're going to come right back and again, continue to help you in a direction to truly engage more in that healing, health, and getting your life back. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are in, you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, April 30th. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie Mack Harris will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live, and we're talking with B in Linwood, California. B, you've just experienced so much loss and heartbreak, and what I heard in the midst of all of that is some serious depression, some significant depression, you know, that like you said, I can't put one foot in front of the other to seem to get going here.
Yeah.
But here's the good news. You called in. That's a big step. Right?
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
I want you to know that with each step in the right direction, nothing in and of itself will make the burden disappear or make the pain go away, but it will lighten it and lessen it, and hopefully over time you find new freedom. But it requires steps in the right direction. So Jill, what are her steps in those directions?
Well, I want you to be aware of how you feel after this call, even if you find yourself, crying, but if you feel a little different than you did before you called. Okay? And then I want you to think about it's a lot to think about doing things to help ourselves. But sometimes if we say, okay, what can I do today? Can I do one thing today to help myself? And you said you were wanting to go to these Al-Anon meetings. And I think that would be a big help for you, because 12-step meetings, they're really used to dealing with people's heaviness. Like, you can go there in whatever state you're in. You don't have to, shove it all down to show up at a meeting. You just come, even if you're falling apart, and it's okay. You can just sit there. You don't even have to say anything in the beginning, right?
Okay.
And
my question is, yes, how is it helpful for me to stay away from my oldest son? Is it helpful, or should I pursue it and try to help him?
Well, let me jump in here with that. Here's what I think. I think you take a break. You don't stay away, but you take a break. Do you understand the difference there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you limit the contact.
Yeah, you limit because you want to be in a better place for yourself so that you can show up to him better. Right?
Okay.
Because he's bringing a lot of pain and heartache or fear. And so the more you subject yourself to that, the more that you're going to get the same.
Especially if he's continuing active and deep in his addiction. It will just be hurtful and draining for you to be around him. And we need to get you stronger first so that you can choose to be around him when you have your support system around you. And as Chris mentioned, depression, I want you to consider talking to your medical provider, because your body must be so fatigued. I'm even wondering about adrenal fatigue with all the trauma you have been through over the years of your son's addiction. And it's likely that you'll need some medication support to help get your body back on track again, so that putting that one foot in front of the other becomes a little bit easier for you.
Really good idea. And then B, as I was talking about before, I think you add meetings and think about them as like cups. And if you're overflowing with the grief, then you need to keep adding a cup to help hold that grief for you. And so that would be your prayer meetings. That could be therapy that you get involved with one-on-one. That is your 12-step or your Al-Anon meetings or your Celebrate Recovery meetings. So those things all help to contain you, right? It's not that there's one answer. We draw from a lot of sources to help ourselves through a difficult time. And then I think, yes, you limit the contact with your son, because if it's too overwhelming and he's being so destructive, maybe you just text him periodically. Let him know that you're thinking about him and you love him, right? And you limit it to just in writing contact.
Yeah.
But when you see yourself kind of amping up and taking on more responsibility for him than is really yours to take, then we need to back down. We need to go to our support systems.
Absolutely. So be with that. I want you to stay on the line also. Get connected with our call center, because we love to connect you with a therapist. Getting into therapy for your process and support is really, really important. We're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible. There's just so many 12-step principles and processes that we see throughout Scripture that can help guide you in this process. And we, again, thank you so much for calling in today. And with that, we're going to go to another caller. We're going to go to Jennifer in Orlando, Florida, listening on WAYL. Jennifer, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Hi. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. What's going on?
So my question is basically how to have a healthier relationship with my mom. Kind of a little bit of background. I come from a broken family, kind of grew up in a very dysfunctional family, and my dad, I have a closer relationship to him now, but he was just emotionally unavailable growing up. And then my mom was kind of opposite, where she was very emotionally dependent, I think, on me. And I've gone through therapy in the last year, and I'm actually turning 30. And it wasn't until...
So Jennifer, let me jump in here because you hear the music. Is there a question for us that we can consider as we move into a break that we can answer for you when we come back?
Yeah, I think it's basically how have a healthier relationship with my mom, but also learning my boundaries and like how to honor her and how to take care of me without feeling guilty.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Jennifer, we'll come back to that right after this.
I lost my mother, and then her brother, and then my sister, and then my husband, and then I lost my best friend.
Are you overwhelmed by the intense feelings of grief, shock, denial, anger, guilt, sadness, depression? You're not alone.
When we lose people and there is grief, and then with each subsequent grief or loss that happens, it's a snowball effect.
The New Life Transforming Grief online workshop is Saturday, May 7th. You'll get tools to help you understand and process your grief and a community to travel through the valley with you. Let New Life help you process your loss, begin a journey of acceptance, and learn how to extend the comfort you've received to help others grieve and rebuild their lives too. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, 1-800-639-5433, or online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're talking with Jennifer, and Jennifer, it just sounds like you've had such, obviously, a painful relationship with your parents, and then how do you engage in relationship around the pain and the frustration and the disappointment? And Jill, you were talking to us about this over the break. What do you have for Jennifer?
Well, Jennifer, it sounds like you have found a way to be in relationship with your dad now, even though you had earlier hurts growing up with him, which is a good thing. And as we've talked about before, sometimes we have to really adjust our expectations and look at what people are capable of. With your mom, if you feel like she is perhaps stuck in patterns where she puts a lot of her emotions on you or expects her to take care of you, that can be really frustrating, especially, you're 30 years old, you're an adult, you have left home, and you're wanting to have more of an adult relationship with your mom. And in her emotional dependence, it can feel like she's trying to keep you in a young spot and even keep you perhaps sometimes like her therapist. And so learning for you, and in therapy yourself, you can really learn this. Okay, you can't be your mom's therapist. You can't grow her up, right? Those are things she has to do, but you can lovingly set some limits with her. Mom, I think that's something maybe that you should talk to one of your friends about. And setting those kind of gentle boundaries, or, Mom, can we just kind of take it down a notch and, have an adult to adult conversation here, right? Or, Mom, I'm just starting to feel a little uncomfortable with our conversation, and I'm wondering what you're wanting from me right now. And then, she may not even know what she's wanting from you. You know what? Sometimes, Mom, I think that you're wanting to be close to me, but I end up feeling like I'm trying to help you. And sometimes it feels like I'm not in the role of the daughter. Now, all of these things may be hard things to say, and you have to say it in a way that you think she can receive it. Because the goal is not to crush her. Because if she's emotionally dependent, then she's going to be easily crushed. So you have to say it in words that are gentle and caring and that aren't triggering, like you don't want to trigger her abandonment.
Yeah.
Right? So, Mom, I love you. I'm glad that we're so close. But sometimes maybe this topic just isn't one that I know how to help you with.
Well, and the other thing is that you don't want to try to abandon or trigger her abandonment, but you will.
Well, that is true.
To take what Jill is saying. Obviously, we don't want to bulldoze her. We don't want to treat her harshly or harmfully. But I think that second aspect of that is that internal work for you. We call it differentiation. And what that means is that I know what my responsibility is to my emotional state, and I know what it's not. And so it's that really, really hard work that Mom's emotional well-being is 100% Mom's responsibility, not yours. But that just takes a lot of work. Because that when you mentioned that guilt tie, that guilt tie is going to keep you outside of yourself trying to manage her internal world.
Right.
Which you will never succeed at. You will fail at that every single time.
And I think for the longest time it just really affected my relationship even with God, because I felt like I was disappointing God by not being able to help my mom.
Yes.
And I still struggle with that guilt sometimes.
Well, here's some good news I want to share with you. Disappointments are universal. And disappointment could be based on something that is real, or it could be based on something that is imaginary. Regardless of what it's based on, it's kind of like a panic attack. If we do the work, it all ends. And especially if we do the work. Now, there's something different about God that we try to employ for ourselves, and that God can be profoundly disappointed and profoundly loving all at the exact same time. Those two things are not opposed. But the other aspect of that is that He is absolutely not disappointed in you not being able to do something that you have zero responsibility for.
And so I just wanted to add too. Sometimes when we have to say no to someone, that we know is easily crushed, we can also reassure them of the connection. Mom, I love you. I'm still here, but I can't do this.
Jennifer, I had to learn that honest no's to my mom's requests were actually loving and more honest than all my forced, sometimes disingenuous yeses, for which I would then feel resentment for doing for her what she wanted me to, but I should have given an honest no. And I don't think I did until my late 20s, after I read Boundaries, and I started to learn about God's style of giving. We had a phrase in our family of origin, a living martyr, where you just push yourself to do everything you don't want to do, and you slap a smile on your face and you pretend you like it. But really you start hating everybody that you're doing stuff for. And so I had to learn that biblical giving is a more cheerful, free giving, not out of obligation, guilt, not out of fear, because that's not true, healthy giving, and it's not sustainable long term. And so when I can now say, I'm sorry, I'm just not available to do that for you at this point, but I care about you, I am better able to love longer. My duration and my ability to persevere in giving and loving, it's more honest, more genuine, and more sustainable.
Yeah. That's good. Right. So, Jennifer, we're speaking to what Alice just told you. I think we're going to send you a copy of Boundaries. And I'm going to send you to another book, too. I'm going to send you Take Your Life Back. I think both of those work really well together. and to help you. You're on the journey. You're doing the work. But just know, I was just joking around at break that I was talking with my therapist yesterday, and I was protesting to him that I've been working on a particular issue for a decade now. So I'm a slow learner. It takes me a while. But the point I'm trying to make there is that especially when there's deep relational ties, this stuff takes a while. Jill, you had mentioned something that I totally forgot, and
What?
it's a way more appropriate book.
Oh.
We're going to send
Your
you...
book, Jill.
Your book, Jill.
Okay.
Your book, I think, is...
That's okay. These were good, too.
Yeah, but I think...
Well, the forgiving our fathers and mothers, Jennifer, some of the stories are more extreme than your situation, but the concepts apply. Apply to every level. And this idea, how do we honor someone and still hold on to ourselves? And looking at our parents in context and really having a more adult relationship with them.
So it's your lucky day. We're sending you 3 copies.
Ooh, 3 books.
We are, because
I hope you like to read.
but to that point, Jill, that we were talking about early on, is that there is so much stuff that is wrapped around our relationship with our parents. And whether we had great parenting or whether we had really kind of failed parenting or something in between, the work of forgiveness through those relationships that can open up forgiveness through all relationships and the health that comes from that is really important. So if you're in that situation, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Check out Forgiving Your Fathers and Mothers. It can really, really help you through that process. So with that, we're going to jump into another phone call. We're going to go to Valerie, listening in San Francisco, California on KFAX. She's a Club New Life member. Valerie, how are you doing today?
Well, listening to the last couple callers, I've learned a lot already.
And does it sound vaguely familiar?
I am a living martyr.
I know you, Valerie. I see you.
Unfortunately, I'm 65, not 30, and I'm going through some really difficult times with my parents, helping them die.
Wow.
And I'm going to cry, so I'm sorry, but I lost my person to talk to, so you're the first people I've talked to about this. My background is both physical and mental abuse from my parents, but I stuck around. I stuck it out through my adulthood, always trying to be salt and light to them, hoping that God would change their hearts.
Yeah.
And through it, the manipulation and the deceit and just turning my cheek and
Valerie,
and going through all of it. And
Valerie, we're about to go to a commercial break. But here's what I want you to think about when we come back from the break. Through all of this abuse, and it doesn't sound like their hearts have changed much, what is the one thing that we can help you with today? What's the question you'd like us to answer? And we'll get back to you right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're talking with Valerie. Valerie, as we are taking your call, hearing a lot of what we've heard on the call today is like, how do we stay in relationship, or how do we negotiate certain aspects of a relationship when that relationship has been painful, when that relationship includes titles like mom and dad. Mm-hmm. So, Valerie, what's the question for us today?
Okay, my question for you is that my mother is now on a hospice, and I'm having a hard time helping her. I'm trying to be a loving daughter, but I don't want to go help her die. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do because all this stuff is coming up, and it's not coming up as anger. It's just coming up with who am I going to be after she dies? I'm no longer going to be this. I don't know who I'm going to be when she dies, and I don't want her to die because I'll kind of lose myself. I'm a mess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It sounds
I don't even know if I want to help her.
Right.
I'm so mad at her.
Well, yeah, you have very mixed feelings, and it's completely understandable. But it also sounds like at the same time you've organized around them, right? And so part of your identity has been in this relationship with these difficult parents, right? And I'm assuming that there's a lot of unresolved pain there. And so with your mom's passing also goes any hope of maybe getting something different from her. And sometimes we think we know that intellectually, but on an emotional level, at a young place, there's still that longing. Maybe they'll recognize me. Mm-hmm. Maybe in her dying breath, I'll get what I've been looking for my entire life. And and yet not wanting to care. And so I think you have to balance all of these emotions, Valerie, and honor all of them because they're all a part of the picture. And it makes sense that, you might want to let some other people do some things, that you don't have to do everything for your mom, and that you only be involved to the degree that helps you to feel good about what you've done when she passes, right? So it's like you be the honorable person, even though your mom is not honorable, right? And so you do that to be better than she is, really, in a lot of ways.
And Valerie, I want you to question and reevaluate what your work and your calling is with her. That phrase, it's kind of my job to help her to die. I need to help her die. I don't know that is your job to do that. Of course it's your work to try to love her, to forgive her, to honor her. But bringing together a team of people who can help her die, professionals even, a therapist, the nurses, a caring angel who can come in to help her to die well, it may not be all on your shoulders to do.
Well, right, and leaning on the people in hospice.
Well, you know what? My helping her die, now my father didn't believe in heaven either, and I was sent a book by Max Lucado, but and of course he didn't read it. But helping her to die, she's terrified, right?
Yeah.
And
So
I know, and I trust, and I believe that there's heaven, right? There's a
Yeah. So Valerie, hear all
Yeah.
of the anxiety. Okay. Remember in that last caller, I was saying, hey, you got to know what's yours and you got to know what's not yours. Her feelings are not yours. Her salvation is not yours. Okay.
But I want her to go to heaven.
I know you do. Hold on. Hear me out. All of that energy is what I call powerless energy. That's being wasted. Right? This is going to be kind of a hard, maybe a little bit harsher feedback for you, but I want it to be wrapped in tremendous grace and truth. Alice mentioned calling. Your calling is not to help your mom die. Your calling is to help yourself live. You said it really well. I don't know I don't know who I'm going to be without her. And I'm like, you're going to be a wholehearted human being that God has placed on planet Earth of immeasurable value and a high calling, just like the rest of us. But you're going to have to fight to get that back. But that fight to get that back.
I don't even know if I don't know how to get there.
Sure, absolutely. That's going to take a lot of therapeutic help. It's going to take a lot of guidance, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of grief. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to send you a copy of the Emotional Freedom Workbook. And
can we also send my book, because this would be a good one?
Yes.
For her as well, forgiving our fathers and mothers.
And Valerie, it may seem very selfish at this time in your mother's life to turn the attention and focus onto yourself, but I actually think it's the most loving thing you can do for her, because if you take care of yourself, get your individual therapy, you will be able to have a more genuine presence with your mom.
And you can, seek out some of the hospice nurses. A lot of times there are Christians hiding behind that badge, right? And invite people to speak into your mom's life. Invite a pastor to come speak with her. Give her the gospel message.
But the hardest thing the hardest and most important thing that you can do is to release your mom. That's the work, and release her into God's hands. That she, again, is not your responsibility, and not your work. You are your work now. And so by the time this airs, in a couple of days will be the Emotional Freedom Workshop on April 30th. Again, coming up on May 7th is the Transforming Grief Workshop. And Valerie, I just want to really, really encourage you to attend. I think to start with the Emotional Freedom Workshop, because it's going to really help you address the hurt and the pain that you experience through abuse, and how to begin a journey to release that and rediscover who you are and the life that God has given you, as opposed to getting sucked into the vortex of the pain and hurt that your parents have given you. So again, Valerie, thank you so much for calling in today, and we pray great grace in your journey towards healing and growth. And just know it, man, guys, this takes work. As I was protesting with my therapist, I've been working on something for 10 years. I may be working on it for the rest of my life. But by doing the work, meaning addressing these hard things in our life that keep us trapped and stuck and in sometimes painful and destructive patterns, that we're going to experience incremental freedom over a lifetime. And we're going to get to, if we adjust the direction 1 or 2 degrees over 1,000 miles, that's going to be a big difference. Yeah. So as we depart today, Jill, there is these complications that we have with our parents. How do we negotiate? What is a couple things that we need to know in getting into addressing our complicated and sometimes painful relationships as adults with our parents?
Well, I think we need to recognize that we have those childhood needs and feelings that come to the surface often when we have things that are unresolved, and that it's really important to look at that, and that sometimes it can be confusing because the parents that we see in our adult world may not be exactly the same as they were in our childhood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we need to make some distinctions there and really address the origins of the hurt.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we hope for you to have a great and blessed rest of your day.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.